I hate DJI.
That's a good one.
Right?
What's up, guys? It's your boy Brandon here, and today we're going to be talking about the crappiest company in the world, DJI, and why you should never, ever, ever buy any of their products, even if your life depended on it.
Back a couple months ago, I bought a DJI Phantom 4 Pro, and in that unboxing, I discussed the situation with my Mavic 2 Pro. As you can see right behind me here, there is a myriad of DJI products. We have, what do we have? A Ronin SC, we've got a Mavic 2 Pro, we have, this is irrelevant, and then we have the Phantom 4 Pro version 2.0. So, the story behind my Mavic 2 Pro was that I was taking pictures of a irrigation system that I was going to be doing some work on, so I could draw out a map to find what needs to be replaced and what it needs to be replaced with. During that, the Mavic flew itself into a brick wall, so I was like, okay, cool. I got home, took a look at it, and it was giving a bunch of vision system errors. So I tried to calibrate it with the app on the Mac, which actually caused my iMac and my MacBook to kernel panic every time I tried to do it. And for those who don't know, kernel panic is the Mac equivalent to the Windows blue screen of death. So, great time right there. I reached out to DJI on Twitter, and they said they were like, oh, we're so sorry about what's happened to you. We're gonna get this sorted out, send it in. So I sent it in and waited. Now, during the waiting, we had planned an off-road trip. This was the the second off-road trip of the season, and I needed a drone. I was going to buy the Mavic Air 2, but they were back-ordered like months in advance to, I think, either end of June or early July at the time. This was May. So I pretty much bit the bullet and dropped $1,700 on the Phantom 4 Pro. A couple days after I bought the Phantom and flew it around and shot the off-road video with it, I get an email from DJI regarding my Mavic 2 Pro. I have that email right here on my iPhone. Remark, dear customer, we regret that the service is not covered by warranty based on the results of damage assessment. So, that was the first thing I saw, and I was like, okay, why not though? The vision system went out, I haven't had this thing for even a year yet, and it flew itself into a wall. What else do you want me to do? So I was like, okay. So I keep reading on. Please find details as follow. Non-warranty. We will either repair or replace it with a product that is new or equivalent to new in both performance and reliability after payment has been received. So I was like, okay, how expensive is this going to be? So you see the screenshot on the screen right now. This is what I was looking at. You can see that I saw at the bottom, forward vision system module, quantity 1, net price, $42. So I was like, oh, $42, that's not too bad. I scroll down and see camera module pro, quantity 1, $401.
That's bad.
$400.
That's
okay?
Crazy.
And the best part about this is that the camera still worked. The gimbal worked. The camera received an image and it took videos, took pictures. It still worked. It was just a little bit scratched up because of the design of the cover. The cover scratches up the housing of the camera. But no, extra $401 for that. Okay. I keep scrolling down. Press down, quick release propeller, CW. Quantity 2, total price $15. Right below that, press down, quick release propeller, CCW. Quantity 2, total price $15. And at the very bottom, repair service fee, quantity 2. Why am I paying 2 service fees on one product? Please explain that to me. Someone explain that to me, okay? 2 service fees at $65 a piece equals out to $130 total. And the grand total amount, $603. Discount $0, shipping costs $0. I had to make a PayPal account to pay these people money. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Now
that's terrible, man.
It's
you
bad,
shouldn't have to go through that.
Now, guys, keep in mind the drone, the Mavic 2 Pro, is another $1,700 drone. I haven't even had it for a year. It's been a year now, but at the time this happened, I hadn't even had it for a year. I had it for less than 10 months. So I went back on Twitter. If I can find the tweets I sent out, I'll screenshot them, but I said something along the lines of, yo, big shout out to DJI making me pay $600 for a manufacturer defect. And then they were like, oh, we're going to escalate this to our whatever it was. So that happened. I emailed back and forth with this guy, like, in every email had like Chinese words in it that I couldn't read. I can't read Chinese. And eventually they were like this was mid-June now. They were like, well, after everything we've looked at with the flight data, and I was like, wait, hold on. Flight data? This is another thing. They had requested flight data. I didn't send them any flight data. I sent them nothing. I was like, what do you want flight data? I told you what happened, and they were like, oh, okay, we'll make it work. They sent me a map, and the coordinates of the map where the drone had landed were exactly where it crashed. It was right on the same wall at the same house at the same time. So I was like, okay. I still have no idea how they got that. I didn't send them anything. I'm guessing maybe they went into my DJI account and looked at my flight history. I don't know. But that sketched me out a little bit.
Yeah,
so at that point,
I feel ya.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
It just seems so creepy. I think what's going on is basically after you're done flying, and if your phone's connected to the internet or whatever device you use, once it's connected to the internet, I think it uploads your flight data to DJI wherever that server's at, and that's how they get their access to it. It's just creepy, and I don't think people realize it, or at least that's my theory on why they have it, but it's weird.
It is weird. I do sync my flight data through DJI's server, but the weird thing about it is there's pictures attached to the flight data, and they don't make you pay for storage, so it's like...
It's weird.
It's kind of like that whole TikTok thing. What are they doing with this data, and why is it important enough to them to not make me pay for them to store these photos? And even like when you look at your flight history, you can play back the exact like route in real time that your drone took. Why it's weird. And I have no idea where that information is getting stored, you know. What server is it getting uploaded to when you hit the sync button?
Yeah, it's definitely not locally.
No, definitely not. So, regardless of that, I was tired of it at that point. I just paid the $600 and was like, give me my Mavic back. I want to have 2 drones. So, everything was all well and good until about 3 weeks later, when the controller for my DJI Mavic stopped working. I put a video of this on Twitter, and I actually do still have the video. I'll put that in here right now. Check this out. This is the DJI Mavic 2 Pro controller that I got back with the drone that I paid over $600 for a repair on around a month ago. So I came home last night and realized that, oh, it doesn't work. Last time I used it, it had a 90% charge. So I was like, okay, this has happened before. Let me just plug it in and it'll come back to life. Product this expensive shouldn't be doing that, but that's how it's been. Now check this out. Here's the charger that came with the drone. To prove it works, check it out. It's charging this Galaxy S7 Edge right now. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug this from the Galaxy. And then plug it in to the Mavic 2 Pro controller. Nice. As you can see, the controller would not turn on, and it also would not react to being plugged into a charger. A little note about that controller as well is since I think the 2nd or 3rd month I had it, it would do this thing where it wouldn't do anything unless you plugged it into power briefly. Like if you plugged it into a charger briefly, it would come back. This time it didn't. So DJI saw the video again, and they were like, you know, same thing with the Mavic. Oh, go ahead and send it in. It'll be okay. We'll get it taken care of. So I sent it in. I get the same COVID notification, and then about a week and a half after that, I get another email from DJI, and it's a repair quote. Same start as the last one. Remark, dear customer, we regret the service is not covered by warranty, blah, 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 blah. I go down to the item list, and I see remote controller battery, quantity 1, $9. I was like, okay, I still shouldn't have to pay for this because I've only ever charged it with the brick that it came with. You know, the little thing that pops out of the side of the Mavic 2 battery charger. I've only ever charged it with that. But whatever. I scroll down farther, and then I see repair service fee, $65. So that then brought my grand total to $74 that I had to pay for a controller that just stopped working for no reason. And I tweeted this to DJI, waited for a good amount of time, and I was like, okay, they don't care. I paid the fee, and then like 2 hours after I paid it, they replied to the tweet. And I was like, this is a scam. This is a freaking scam. They waited for me to pay, and then replied to my tweet. I don't know, man. It's ridiculous. So those are my two stories, my two big stories with DJI. Another one is the Phantom 4 Pro sitting back there. The first day I got it, it threw a vision system error. I calibrated it inside the app, but it still says, you know, calibrate with a Mac or a PC for higher accuracy. I tried it again on my iMac and my MacBook, and it kernel panicked every time I tried to do it. So I just have to live with that stupid error being there now. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
For a new product, too. That's sad.
That was the first flight it threw that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is not uncommon to get stuff from DJI that's not 100% functional. So let me go ahead and tell my story about...
Ahead. Let's hear what you have
my
to go
Phantom
through.
Here. Back in... Let's see, I got the drone back in... Hold on, I gotta think for a second here. I think I got it in 2017.
I think
Sometime
that
in 2017.
Sounds right.
It sounds about right.
Or maybe 2018.
Maybe it was that. It was somewhere around that time period. But anyway, when I first got this thing, it was my first drone. I was super excited. And because it's all new to me, I wasn't sure, you know, what should be working and what's not. So the first time I flew this thing, I was super stoked. And I noticed that the app, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the app. The app is really terrible. It's really confusing to use, and some things just don't make much sense, and it used to be very unstable. It got a little better in terms of stability, but in terms of user interface, design, it just doesn't make much sense. There's a lot of like random menus that take you to different things, and I'll just put it this way, it just feels weird and awkward, and I feel like there's a better way. Obviously, I'm not a UI designer, so I don't know what needs to be fixed, but it just doesn't feel right. A few weeks later, my dad was flying it, and he was like super excited, but he flew too close to a wall, and so he crashed it. But it was a very low altitude crash, like just a few feet above the ground. But it ended up breaking a couple blades, and it also made a minor crack on the little landing gear thing right here. But before that, I always noticed that the gimbal always made this weird grinding sound, but I wasn't sure if that was normal or not. It just seemed a little weird to me that it would make the grinding sound, but I thought that was okay because the footage looked fine. Well, as time went on, this grinding sound got worse and worse, and it got to the point that the footage was starting to suffer. You could actually see this weird vibration in the footage, and I mean, it looked horrible, and that's when I realized, oh, I gotta take this in because this is not good. And eventually, I opened a case with DJI, and I sent it to them, and it sounded like they're gonna take it because it was under warranty. I also got the extended warranty for it as well, if I remember correctly, because I was just, again, first drone, I was really scared of crashing the thing. And I took it in, and I was hoping, okay, they'll probably cover it, and that'll probably be it. Nope, I end up getting a bill for $174. Trust me, this thing was making grinding noises when I first got the thing, pretty much. But I just blew it off because I thought it wasn't a malfunction.
Now, can I ask you a question really quick about that?
Yeah.
When you calibrate the compasses in the Phantom and the Mavic, it asks you to rotate it in a 360-degree circle horizontally, and then again vertically. When you hold the Phantom vertically, the gimbal makes a not nice sound. Was it kind of like that?
It was a little worse than that.
It was worse than that? Are you serious?
It was like, you could tell it did not like it. Oh, and another thing too, if I tilted it, because you know there's a fan in there too when you turn it on. Yeah. When I tilted it a little too much, you could hear it sounded like the fan was hitting something.
Oh, great.
Like maybe like a wire. Yeah, this one I have now still slightly makes that sound, but not as bad. But the other one I had definitely made that sound. And I'm thinking, okay. And I also like looked at forums too. Like that's probably another reason why I didn't act too fast, is because I looked at forums like, okay, is this normal? And everyone said, oh, it's fine. It's within tolerances. It'll survive. I'm like, okay. Again, first drone, so I didn't know. I take it in. I get a $174 bill. I'm like, what the heck, DJI? I mean, this was definitely a defect. Because like I said, it got worse and worse. At one point, I actually had something that I was getting paid to do. And what I ended up doing is I actually like took like a piece of a straw and I stuck it up. I jammed it up somewhere in here so that way the gimbal wouldn't move as much. And it actually surprisingly helped. Huh. Yeah, it was weird. I sent this in. I got the Mavic, the original Mavic, refurbished. And
the original Mavic Pro.
Yeah, the original Mavic Pro. And basically that was going to be my secondary drone. And when I got this back, I had to return it. But I actually really love the Mavic Pro that I'm like, I'll just keep this little thing. But that was refurbished. I've never had a single problem with it. This thing's brand new, or when I bought it, it was brand new. And I had those weird problems with the gimbal and who knows what else inside to make the problem with the fan. So I guess there's something loose as well. But oh my gosh, it's terrible. But what made it worse, like you know, with your problem, is that you had to pay for a problem that was a manufacturing defect from the beginning, from the get-go. And another thing is it's also really hard to prove that kind of stuff too. And they just, I don't know, it really annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah, me too. Before we continue talking about our problems with DJI, on the tweets I was talking about earlier in the video, a few people replied. I'm going to read out a few of those here. So as you can see here, this is the video that I tweeted out about the Mavic 2 Pro controller not responding to being plugged into power. You can see me demonstrating it with the Galaxy S7 Edge that it worked, but whatever. I described the issue here, and then Rodiman replies, "They are the worst. It amazes me that people are still having the same issues that I had 2 years ago, and all they do is apologize and take tons of time with your product." If that isn't facts, I don't know what is, okay? Like that tweet right there.
100%.
That's facts. Go follow him on Twitter. You can see his @ right there. So this was in regards to the same Mavic 2 Pro controller. As you can see, I put up a screenshot of the invoice of them charging me to fix a controller battery that just stopped working on its own. You can see this was tweeted out on July 7th, 2020. And I tweeted out as a reply to my own tweet, if a bad battery in a controller I got back less than a month ago, because yes, I did ship out the controller with my Mavic 2 Pro, and they sent me the same one back. I could tell because of the scratches on the screen. But I said if a bad battery in a controller that I got back less than a month ago isn't covered by warranty, then what is? Now, the replies on that, I have no idea how to pronounce this guy's name. So there it is right there, but he goes, nothing. They're a shame as a company. True. They just want our money.
Very true.
Yeah. And then you can see 7/8/2020, July 8th, 2020, DJI finally replies after I paid the fee. It's like they were waiting for it. You know they were. Would it surprise you?
Yeah, I think they purposely put some type of delay in there.
They probably did. They were like, let's this guy's been talking mad crap on our company. Whatever, guys. Friggin' So this is going back to my first experience with DJI's customer service. This was the original Mavic defect that I had shipped out the entire drone for. So I said, yo, I want to give a big shout out to DJI for charging me $603 because of a manufacturer defect. You guys are the best. And you can see here, I put in the screenshots of the remark, whatever that means, and the invoice with all the prices. Art by Art LA replies, well, my drone took control of my aircraft. I'm basically guessing that it means the drone took control of itself and decided to land in the ocean, and DJI blamed me for it. Pretty much what happened to me. My drone took control of itself because of a faulty vision system and flew itself into a brick wall. So, yeah. Shouts to DJI, greatest company in the world. Back on to more horror stories with DJI products that we've had. Back in, what was that, the end of June when I was in Kentucky? Yeah, so I went to Kentucky for a wedding, and while I was there, I met up with this guy in person, which we're gonna plug it again. If you haven't watched it, click that card in the top right corner of the screen. Watch our collabs. It was a fun time. Anyway, though, I didn't bring anything with me, any of my camera equipment, except my camera and this microphone. That's the only thing I brought. I didn't bring anything else because I didn't want to pay to fly with it, and Brandon already had drones, so I was like, okay, cool. So we go out to this Federal Signal 612 at a fire station. Which city was that in? It was in Indiana, I know.
I wish I knew.
Oh, well,
this is my area and I forgot.
Ah, man, what a guy. It was somewhere, some fire station somewhere that had
Dearborn. It's in Dearborn County. It's not the one that's crooked. It's the one that's actually straight.
Hidden Valley's the leaning one, but this was at a fire department, so I was getting that beautiful orbiting shot of that siren with the exact same drone that's behind Brandon right now. It was that drone that I used to to capture it. So during that, I was like, all right, this is pretty sick. This is a pretty cool shot right here. And then near the end, it threw a IMU error, and the drone started flying itself toward the siren. So if that had happened,
that would have been so bad, because it would leave like a big giant hole on there, and it will be forever known as the 612 that got hit with the drone. And every siren enthusiast that would record it would always see that big giant hole or whatever cut.
I could see that just in the description of every video of it. In case you're wondering, that hole in one of the covers is from when DaSamNudge flew DSRX 100's drone into the siren.
Oh my gosh!
Oh no!
It'd be perfect.
But
it's almost worth crashing into the siren now. I gotta try that sometime.
No, not at all. I mean, I'm not gonna pay for it. If you want to let me do it, that'll be cool. But I'm not gonna pay for that.
I'll just buy one of those cheap drones from Walmart. Just crash right into it.
No, but seriously, if you go watch that video, it's like right after the orbiting shot, it cuts to Brandon filming me saying, "Your IMU went out for a second." That almost gave me a heart attack. Your IMU just went out for a second. Okay, that was scary. Huh. It was just flying itself around for a second. That always makes me have a heart attack.
That scares me too.
When that happens, it's scary. I don't know exactly what the IMU does, but it's important. That's all you really need to know.
It's the core of this system. If your IMU goes out, this drone's dead. I mean, it's scary.
I'm glad it came back.
I know. That actually reminds me of another story. So last Wednesday, I'm not going to say exactly what siren yet, because this video will probably go before I actually post a video of this siren. I recorded this really cool siren that's been recorded a million times, but I wanted to get a recording of it myself and hear it in person, and it's located on top of an old city hall or whatever in a really cool town. And I was getting some nice, awesome shots, and I wanted to get a top-down view while the siren's going off. And all of a sudden, the IMU goes out, and it stays out. And it switches to ADI mode, and then the compass redundancy switch error comes up. By the way, if you've never flown a DJI drone, if you're in something, there's 3 different modes basically. There's ADI mode, sport mode, and GPS mode,
and tripod.
Vision.
You can't forget
tripod mode. There's a lot of
So there's
basically ADI mode is all manual for the most part.
Yeah.
The drone's all 100% in your hands. When you're in your normal GPS mode, the GPS helps keep the drone steady. In ADI mode, you're keeping the drone steady.
And
it goes into ADI mode.
It's not easy
and it
to
is
do.
Tough, especially on a windy day. And it was a bit of a windy day. And I was just so scared of losing this drone because there's a bunch of communication, or at least one big tower really close by it. And I thought I was going to hit that sucker because it didn't really want to respond the same way it usually does. And oh my gosh, that would have been terrible. But luckily I survived. I guess it's because of my genius piloting skills. I was able to bring the drone down safely and still get a good siren recording from it. So. And
his genius is the Kanye West type genius, in case you're wondering.
yeah. So not really that genius, but genius enough.
A quick note on the modes in DJI drones. You've got on the Phantom, I believe it goes PSA. That stands for Position, Sport, and then ADI. It pretty much is what it is. Position uses the vision system and GPS. If there is no GPS available, it'll just use the vision system. Sport mode disables the vision system but still uses GPS, and it lets you go up to like 45 miles an hour, at least with my drones. And then ADI mode, which is short for attitude mode, is basically what Brandon said. It's manual mode. You're controlling everything the drone does, and it will not hover. It does what you do, and it doesn't hover in place because there's no GPS, and there's I don't think there's a vision system. It might keep the vision system on, but I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't think the vision system is working on ADI mode at all. Because even when I get the vision system on, it will at least kind of stay steady.
And then with tripod mode, it's not exclusive to the Mavic 2 Pro, but the Mavic, instead of having ADI mode on the switch, it replaces ADI mode with tripod mode, which is good because I think that's more useful. Tripod mode basically just makes it it just slows it down. It won't go faster than like I think 5 miles an hour. So if you want to get those nice smooth cinematic push-ins or pullback shots, that's the one you want to use. And also with the Mavic, and I believe the Phantom as well, that's the only mode other than active track, but this is the only like manual control mode that uses the sideways vision sensors. Yeah, all the other modes only use the front and back. But that's really weird. Yeah, that's how it works. That's how the flight modes in DJI drones work. Another thing we need to talk about is consistency. Yeah. Oh man, there's a lot we could talk about with this. Yeah. When I was in Kentucky with Brandon, I flew both of his drones. I didn't end up using any of the Mavic shots because, like, when Brandon was telling me how much better the Phantom 4 Pro is than the original Mavic Pro, I was like, really? I mean, my Mavic Pro is pretty good. It's the second gen, but still, I flew the original Mavic Pro, and I was like, okay, I see what you were saying now. The quality,
it's kind of
camera quality is soft.
More, yeah.
The bitrate's definitely not as high. It doesn't control as well, from what I had noticed. And it's also like, I mean, it's not a bad drone, okay? If you can find a good deal on one, buy it. But the camera, okay? The camera can do 4K, and that's 3840 by 2160, right? But I looked in it, and there was another mode for 4K, and it was 4096 by 2160, and that's just a little bit wider, but it's 4K, just a little bit wider. Now, my Mavic 2 Pro can't do that. It can only do 3840 by 2160, up to 30 frames a second, while the Phantom can go up to 4096 by 2160 at 60 frames per second. But that's one thing that the original Mavic Pro can do that the Mavic 2 Pro can't, is shoot that little bit wider 4K aspect ratio, and it makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense.
It's confusing. It's weird. I don't get it either.
It's so dumb. And also, the interface for flying the Phantom is different than the Mavic. With mine, at least. I didn't really pay attention to it much on the Mavic Pro. But when you're flying the Mavic 2 Pro, the interface looks different than it does on the Phantom 4 Pro. The vision system icon at the top actually has an icon that shows you which sensors are active and inactive. The Phantom just has one icon that's either white or red. Red means disabled, white means enabled. You don't know which ones are enabled, it just tells you that part of the vision system is enabled.
So another complaint about DJI is that their gimbal guards kind of suck, especially for the Phantom. This is not the original gimbal guard at all. This is something I got third party, and it actually clamps on a lot better. The original one keeps breaking on me all the time.
This is what the original one looks like. See that? You see that right there?
It's beautiful. Yeah. Too bad it keeps breaking on me. Another thing it does too is that it actually pushes the camera in quite a bit. And let me take this out just to kind of show you.
I had noticed that too. And the one for the Mavic 2 Pro does that as well. When you clamp the bubble part in, it pushes up the gimbal a little bit with that little rubber piece they have.
Yeah, it pushes weigh in there, and I was reading in forums, and part of the reason why I was getting vibration problems, I don't know if it's the entire reason, but one of the reasons is that there's little, apparently little shock absorbers up there, little like balls, and if it pushes up there for a very extended period of time, it actually flattens those balls out, so you don't exactly get that nice shock absorption that you usually would get. So yeah, it's not exactly really great for the gimbal either. So the gimbal guard could potentially be doing more damage than good stuff.
Great. What a brilliant design by this premium drone company. To close off this episode, guys, we need to have another company making drones like DJI does. We need to have an American-based company making high-end camera drones like DJI does. Not to say, and this video isn't meant to say that all of DJI's products are bad. Their products are good until they break and you have to deal with their customer service. Their customer service is the part that's just absolutely miserable, okay?
Yeah, terrible. I mean, that's like how my opinion is too. From an engineering standpoint, I'd say the DJI, besides the gimbal clamp, of course, the DJI drone's pretty cool. But from a quality assurance thing and a customer service part of the business, it's terrible. You know, you have great engineering, but you've got terrible customer service and you got terrible quality assurance. You're better off just buying a refurbished drone, because if you want to get a DJI drone, get a refurbished one, because they actually will at least check that. Now, quality assurance wise, if you got, or customer service wise, if you got a problem, then you're kind of screwed. But I don't know. It's really hard to recommend these drones, because one way they're great, and in a lot of ways they can be absolutely terrible. So yeah, that's just my opinion on them.
And they also only give you 48 hours after you activate your drone to buy the extended warranty.
Yes.
Apple gives you 60 days. So, I don't know, man.
It's terrible.
If Apple made a drone, I would buy it on launch day. But anyway, guys, that is going to be it for this episode of the Rantcast. As usual, if you enjoy, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. All the usual stuff. Subscribe to Brandon. Links in the description and on the end screen with the outro. But until the next video, guys, that is going to be it. Thank you for watching.
That was dramatic, wasn't it?
That was good. That was good. Alright, I'm good. You can go ahead and introduce now.
Okay. What's up, guys? It's your boy Brandon here, and today we're going to be talking about the crappiest company that we've ever had to deal with, DJI, and why you should never ever have to buy. God, that was terrible.
Come on, man.
Why you should never buy any of their products unless your life depended on it.
No,
that was awful.
That was
bad.
Even if your life depended on it, bro, don't buy it.
Yeah, DJI like invents like a heart defibrillator or something like that, and I got like a heart attack or some stuff.
The first day it's in,
you're gonna die. And honestly, I wouldn't even trust getting defibrillated by that thing. I'd just be like, bro, just let me suffer from this heart attack. I'd rather not suffer with that.
Oh man, yep, that's how bad it is. All right, you want to go ahead and do that again?
Sure.
All right, hold on.
Coming down.
I gotta get back into my like fake mad look here.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Exercise those muscles. All right. Coming down on 3, 2, 1.